Pokémon is one of the most successful franchises in the world. Founded by Nintendo, the world of Pokémon, short for Pocket Monsters, is centered around fictional characters that human trainers can catch, train, and then make them battle. In the 1990s, Pokémon was at the peak of its success with an animated series, and that resulted in a bunch of products like video games, vinyl figures, and even manga comics. But if there's one product that took the world by storm, it was Pokémon trading cards. In fact, they were so successful that rare Pokémon cards now go for as much as $500,000. But how did the Pokémon trading cards get so big? Let's find out. But before we continue, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be the first to be notified of new behind the business videos that we post every week. Let's begin. After the first ever Pokémon series was released in 1996, the first series of the card games was released in Japan by a company called Media Factory. The first ever set of Pokémon cards included the base set, which consisted of 102 cards along with 2 expansion packs, the Jungle with 64 and the Forest with 62 cards. Together, these 228 cards went on to define a generation of card games and paved the way for the idea to be carried forward. The idea behind the card game was pretty simple. Every player acted as a Pokémon owner and picked a set of cards from the deck to attack their opponent's cards. Each set of cards had to contain at least one basic Pokémon, which would then evolve and become stronger as the game went on. As simple as the concept was, it was a huge hit in the Japanese market, which is what gave rise to an American version of the same game. Pokémon trading cards were released in America in 1998 and gave rise to one of the biggest gaming communities in the world. With the global success of the Pokémon franchise, the cards had no problem becoming huge in all parts of the world. People would actually hold tournaments where local gamers could play and compete for points and badges. These tournaments would be played in local cafes, libraries, and bookstores, where all Pokémon enthusiasts would join in on the fun. And this is a tradition that's still going on to this day. Now, at a time when video gaming was also on the rise, how did Pokémon trading cards manage to become so huge? Well, the first reason was the success of the Pokémon franchise in general, which is why people wanted to collect anything and everything that was connected to the franchise. But a more important reason was that the card game was a fully immersive experience, just like a video game, but maybe even better. The card game completely simulated the battles from the series without oversimplifying them like you would expect. Just like in the cartoon series, you play with 6 Pokémons and battle your opponents one-on-one, swapping out your Pokémon as you go. The greatest thing about the card game is that you build your team along with evolution cards that allow you to evolve your team, while trainer cards fill the same role as items in the series, letting you heal, buff, or affect your performance in some way. The Pokémon trading cards were such a hit that a video game version of the cards was released for Windows, Android, and iOS back in 2011, where people could buy cards that represented digital versions of the monsters. The game was a huge hit and was a perfect representation of the card game. However, fans were still loyal to physical cards and they never really died down, even in the digital age. However, while the Pokémon trading cards definitely continued dominating the world of card games, they stopped holding the same attention that they used to in the early 2000s, when people were all about the Pokémon franchise. Which is when people started believing that, like all other fads, the Pokémon trading cards would eventually die down and fall from the grid. And for a while, it seemed like it was possible. Until now. Recently, the Pokémon trading cards have started gaining relevance like no other. From high schools to high-end auction houses where you might find paintings by Picasso. Once again, the cards are everywhere and everyone is digging into their old stash to find their own set. But why is this happening now? Well, the reason is simple. The Pokémon cards aren't just popular now, they're valuable, to the point where you can't even get your hands on the latest set in the market because they're selling out within seconds. In fact, the Pokémon company has actually had to release statements saying that the sudden demand of their card has put them under constant shipping constraints, and that they've been printing more cards as quickly as they possibly can. At the same time, people have also started auctioning off their old Pokémon cards for ridiculous prices. And what's even more fascinating is that people really don't mind paying thousands of dollars to buy them. But considering the fact that these cards are now 20 years old, why are they suddenly being sold for ridiculous amounts of money? Well, experts credit the COVID-19 lockdowns for the sudden burst in popularity for the Pokémon trading cards all over again. A bunch of people started selling off their old cards during the pandemic, and surprisingly enough, collectors started paying hefty prices to own them. And when influencers like Logan Paul joined in and started taking an interest in the whole situation, it only helped the cards go for more. People on the internet started uploading live streams where they would open mystery decks to see if they managed to get super rare cards worth thousands, hundreds, or even millions of dollars. In 2007, a man known as Gary King Pokémon appeared on Pawn Stars with a collection of Pokémon cards that can only be described as one of a kind. While he asked for $500,000 for the collection, he made sure that people knew he wasn't really interested in selling the cards for even that amount. And while it sounded crazy back then, he was definitely onto something. Some of the individual cards in that collection now command prices close to that $500,000 figure, all thanks to Logan Paul. In 2020, when the vlogger decided to visit that Pokémon card trader with $150,000 in cash, after a highly produced spectacle topped off by negotiations, Paul was able to convince Gary to part with one of his Charizard cards for, you guessed it, $500,000. And just earlier that month, Paul had posted a video that showed him unboxing a $200,000 box of first edition cards. In fact, last year's eBay sales report revealed that Charizard was the top-selling Pokémon card, and the most popular athlete among sports trading card collectors was none other than Michael Jordan, which goes to show that everyone is hopping on the Pokémon craze. Since then, the value of both the new and old versions of the cards has soared sky high. People believe that the franchise is currently riding on a sudden wave of nostalgia, which has resulted in a shortage of cards produced, and the amount that people are desperate to buy. The kids who once grew up with these cards are now adults with their own money, so they're looking to complete their old collections. Especially in the times of COVID, people have all the time in the world to relive their good old days. And that's one of the major reasons why Pokémon cards have started making their way into the mainstream again. And as a result, people have actually started auctioning not just old but newer sets for more than their original retail price once they run out. These price inflations have even stretched to promotional cards. McDonald's recently pushed a 25th anniversary set of reprinted Pokémon cards, with scalpers that were selling the complete holographic sets pushing them on eBay for as much as $450. Perhaps the biggest reason why older and newer generations are now rediscovering the magic of Pokémon is the reason why it brings a community together. Sure, you can experience the same thing with video games that can now also be played on your phone, along with AR experiences with apps like Pokémon Go. The magic of physical trading cards is like no other. The fact that we're seeing Pokémon emerge in such a new way just goes to show how universal this franchise has always been. Like always, Pokémon is still bringing people together as they share their nostalgia. The reason why these cards experienced so much success back in the 1900s, and the reason why they're so big now, is the same. It's because people like sharing the love they have for the franchise with others. And what other way to do it than to trade some good old cards? Well, there's no telling what lies in the future for Pokémon, more specifically the trading cards. But one thing's for sure, they will definitely go down in history as one of the most iconic pop culture experiences of our time. So, if money wasn't an object, which Pokémon card would you want in your collection? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be the first to be notified of new behind the business videos we post every week. Be inspired, and we will see you in the next one. Since you made it all the way to this point, here are 2 more videos that we know you are going to love. Go on, click on it. You know you want to.